I'll invite our pretend customer over. So this is the job that me and Lee are going to be doing. Would you leave him a 5-star review, do you think? Let's see if the phone rings and I can show you exactly what I do. Hello and welcome back to Artisan Electrics. Nice to see you all again. As you know, we do a lot of electric vehicle charging installations, and I often get asked by people, how do you deal with all the paperwork side of things? There is a lot of paperwork involved in EV charging, from the grant applications to the D&O notifications, certificates, and everything in between. And just doing the site surveys can take a lot of time and effort. So what I'm going to do today is take you on a journey from the phone call that comes in from the customer right at the beginning, all the way through to doing the job, and then back to right at the end, how we process all the paperwork, the grant application, D&O notification, and all that stuff. So you're going to see right from the beginning how we deal with an EV charging installation, all the way through to the end, including the guys on site doing the job. So I hope this video is of interest to you. If it is, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, it really helps. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please think about doing so. It's free, and you'll get regular video updates from us if you hit the notification bell. So let's get into it. So generally what happens first is a customer will see one of our YouTube videos, or they'll be doing a Google search because they want to have an electric vehicle charging point installed, and they'll phone us, or they'll fill out our online contact form. Either way, they'll get through to us with a request for a quote for an electric vehicle charging point. Now at that point, we have quite a lot of information that we need to find out in order to be able to give the customer an accurate quote. It's not as simple as changing a light fitting or wiring up a few extra sockets. Adding a significant load to the circuit, which is what we're doing when we're putting an EV charging point in. In fact, we're not adding a load to an existing circuit, but we're creating a new circuit. Involves a lot of other important safety things. So we have to do various checks to make sure that we can add a new circuit to the existing consumer unit, for example, or if not, what do we have to do in order to be able to facilitate adding an electric vehicle charging point to their system. If this was all up in my head, it would be really tricky, because we're getting so many inquiries for EV charging points at the moment that it would just all hell would break loose and it would be complete chaos. So what we've tried to do is set up systems of how we deal with these inquiries so that we can move customers through the whole process as smoothly and as easily as possible for the customer, but also for us to make sure that we can keep track of the jobs and that we're working as efficiently as possible to keep track of all the leads that come through. So how do we do all this? Well, one thing that we use which really helps us is EV Comply. You might have heard of it already. You've probably heard Corey or myself talking about it in some of our videos. It just makes our lives so much easier when it comes to dealing with all these EV inquiries and moving them through the whole system. So I'm going to show you a little bit now how I deal with the first phone call that comes in, how I get them into EV Comply, and I get the customer to do a lot of the hard work for us when it comes to actually giving the information that we need in order to give the customer a quote. Let's see if the phone rings and I can show you exactly what I do. So we're here in EV Comply, and first of all, this is our dashboard. Now this is really cool because it helps us to keep track of actually how many installs we're doing, how many jobs are at what stages. So it gives us these great visualizations. So for example, you can see since we've started using EV Comply, we've completed 418 electric vehicle charging point installations. That's normal domestic ones, and we've done 17 workplace charging points. That gives us our sort of split. You can see we're doing a lot more domestic than commercial. You can see like September was probably on a par with our biggest month. We did 13 installs, but November we've already done 8, and it's only the 9th of November today, so we're on track to have our biggest month ever this month. And if you look at the leads that have come into the system, like in October we had 69 leads come in. The great thing about EV Comply is it's completely flexible for your company. So for us, we do it this way, but a lot of companies, they literally put the link for the survey form on their website, and then customers can go straight away, put in all their details and fill out the survey, and then they just get notified. I've got a phone call coming in, so I'm going to answer that now. Hello, Artisan Electrics, Jordan speaking. I am very well, thank you. Yeah, I understand you wanted to talk to me about an electric vehicle charging point installation. You're very welcome. Take care. Have a great day. So that was a man who, let me just take this off for a second, who has a tricky situation, and we're getting a lot of these for EV. For example, the parking space is miles away from the house. In his case, the parking space is not that far, but to get a cable from his house to the parking space, he has to cross like his neighbour's driveway and his neighbour's parking space or something. So he would need to get permission from his neighbour to actually be able to install that cable. So it gets a little bit complicated in that case. Getting that initial information in EV Comply really helps us to then have a look. We kind of get an overview of what the situation is. Then we can phone the customer back and say, hey, looks like we need to do a physical site survey probably. Or if we can see from the pictures that it's a super easy install, then we can just jump straight in and give them a quote based on the pictures that they've sent us. We can get the quote sent out really quickly, and it can all be done through EV Comply. So going back to our dashboard here, having all these figures is really useful. And what I do, so once the customer's details have been taken, we send them a link, they fill out their details in EV Comply, and then it comes up in this section. So it comes up as a lead. So I can click through and I can show you the current leads. So you can see these are all the leads that have come in. We've got 2 today, we've got 2 yesterday, and essentially those are raw leads where we've not checked through the data yet, so we don't know whether they've given us the right pictures and bits and pieces or not. My PA, Erica, she goes through those to save me time, and she just checks all the basic stuff like, have they put a picture of the consumer unit? Have they put a picture of the bonding? All that kind of stuff. But we can click on one and I can just show you what it looks like when they submit it first of all. So, okay, this one, the customer has literally just filled out their details, but they've not filled out anything else. This one, let's have a look. And you can see the customer answers these basic questions. Do you have or have you ordered a plug-in vehicle? Do you have off-road parking at home? Do you have an EV charger already installed at your property? So these qualify them or not for the grant. Then they put in all their vehicle details, everything that we need for the grant, they put it in there already. So we've got it on record, ready to go, even before we've necessarily provided the quote. And then they choose what charging point they want, or if they don't know, they can say that and we can make a recommendation to them. And then this is where EV Comply really comes into its own, because this part enables us to get pictures of the house, where they want the charging point to be located, where the consumer unit is, where the cable route would be, and all that kind of stuff. And the customer just fills this all out on their mobile phones. It's super easy. They just go around, they snap a few pictures, and they put it all in for us. It makes it easier for the customer, makes it easy for us. So that's great, because I can easily see from this that it should be a fairly straightforward job. So here we can see the picture. They've done a little drawing for us with the cable route. Again, this is all part of the EV Comply system, that it asks them to do a little drawing and submit it. Then we've got the consumer unit, so we can see if there are any spare ways or not. So in this case, we've got spare way here. There is only type AC RCD, so we would need to change the type AC RCD to type A. We've got a picture of the main cutout fuse, so we can see it's 100 amp, we can see the size of the tails, we can see that the earthing is okay. They've taken a picture of their bonding. Now they've got water bonding, even though it's a plastic bond. And then they've got gas bonding, so that's all good. And they said that it's between 0 and 10 meters for the cable run, so I usually allow for the maximum of 10 meters, or even a little bit more if I think it from the pictures. And they've even given us a description of the cable run. They've given us their MPAN number, which is important for the DNO notification. They've even told us where they found out about us. So here we've essentially got all the information we need to be able to do a quote like that without having to visit the site, without having to call the customer back. We've got all the information we need to do a safe and compliant electric vehicle charging point installation, and that saves us a huge amount of time and effort. So what's the next step? Well, the next step now is I send the quote. So I can literally now create a quote in EV Comply if I want to. And to do that, I'll show you on my screen. We fill out all the cost information. This comes in handy later for the grant, because for the grant application, we need to actually put the costs in there and get the customer to agree to those costs, they have to sign off on it before the end of the job, and the government grant scheme needs to know how much the job cost in total so that they can reimburse the £350 grant towards it at the end. So here we just put in all our costs, and then we can save and email the quote straight to the customer through EV Comply. Then they can click accept and accept the quote, and in our dashboard it goes to a waiting quote. If I think all the information's there, for example, I can put it as a waiting quote, then all I need to do is make the quote. Once a quote is sent, it goes to the quote with customer stage. Once the customer clicks accept, it goes to the quote accepted stage, and that's where we can book it in with the customer, and we can book it in with our engineers so that it's on their mobile phone ready to go on the day of the job. So this is the job that me and Lee are going to be doing. Let's jump over there now and I'll show you this job. We'll show you how it's going, and I'll show you how we fill out the pictures once the install is complete. So we're here. This is Lee's job that he's been busy working on today. He's done a great job, and we're ready now to sign off on all the paperwork. So what we need to do is make sure that the grant paperwork is done and the DNO notification is done. We're going to do it all on the app here. So let me show you how we do it using EV Comply. The job has been assigned to me on the phone. So all I do is click the download button, downloads everything onto my phone, and then I literally just have to go through the check boxes basically and make sure that everything's filled out. So we do the customer declaration first, and we just go through all the tick boxes with the customer. I'll invite our pretend customer over and we'll go through it with him. Hello, Mr. Customer.
Oh, hey.
Are you happy with what Lee has done today?
Oh, he's done a cracking job.
Would you leave him a 5-star review, do you think?
Yeah, I'd go 10, to be honest.
Perfect. Okay, so can I just check these things with you, please?
Yep.
The registered keeper, leasee or nominated user of the vehicle?
Definitely.
Yeah. You have use of this eligible vehicle for a minimum of 6 months?
Yep.
And then if you could just pop your signature on there, please.
I'm not even right-handed, but
okay, great. Done. So that's that one. Now we do the DNO notification form. How do we do that? We click on the DNO notification. Can the DNO contact the customer directly? Yes or no. Type of equipment being installed is an EV charger. It's not a vehicle to grid one. That's it. Signed by the installer. We put our little squiggle in there. Blah, blah, blah. Done. So that is the DNO notification form done in like 5 minutes while on site before you leave. So now we need to add the photo evidence for the fact that we've done the charging point. The photographic evidence, we click on that, we click our camera, and then boom, we take a picture of the charging point. Then we tap to the next box, and this is a photo of the off-road parking space including the charger. So we'll step back a bit, including the parking space. That will do. Use photo. So that's that. Additional photographic evidence. If you're doing a Zappi or another charge point that has a smart hub, then you need to put additional photo of the hub. But we don't need to do that with Hypervolt, so that's fine. So that's it. That's our photographic evidence done. Our DNO notification form is done. Super easy and quick. And that means that when you leave the job, all you do is hit the send button, which I'm going to do now. Hit send. Are you sure you want to submit your data? And as soon as I hit this, we'll be whirled back into the office where I'll show you what happens next. 3, 2, 1. So let's have a little look at what's submitted, and then hopefully if it's all good, we can literally click a button and send this off to the government so that we can get our grant money back, and also to the DNO so that the DNO is notified that we've installed an electric vehicle charging point. So basically in here we've got stuff like the customer declaration. So that is the bit where they sign to say that they agree for us to claim the grant on their behalf, and they give us their squiggle and all that stuff. Their agreement to the price breakdown as well, that's all in there. Then the details of the charge point, so that's where we put the serial number of the charge point in and we confirm that it's been installed in an appropriate location. Installer details, and Lee will just tick off all these boxes and sign it all at the end. Photographic evidence, so this is where he shows the actual charge point has been installed and the serial number and all that evidence is in there. And then this for me is what has been a game changer, is the DNO notification, because in the past you had to fill out this form, which we had to do in like Microsoft Word or PDF editor or whatever, fill it all out. It took ages, and then email it to the DNO. But now in EV Comply, it does it all for you. So Lee fills it out on site. All we do is sign off to say that, you know, it's okay, and then we literally click a button and it sends it straight to the DNO. And you can see here, DNO notified 9th of November at 1:38 PM. It's done. So I don't have to worry about it. It just automatically gets sent off. And then if they've got any problem with it, then they say. Otherwise, they just send us a little email to say your installation has been approved. And that's it really. We need to now upload the electrical certificate and the building regulations certificates to get the grant claimed through. That wasn't included in the past, but now it is. So again, we can just, once we've created our PDFs, we can just upload them, click on the file, attach it, and then it attaches it to the folder. And then once all the information's there, I literally click approve and it sends it in, and then at the end of the month it creates this whole folder, like zip file thing, with all the evidence from every single job. It creates the spreadsheet that we have to send for the grant application with the number of installs that we've done, the amount of money that we're trying to claim, all the job numbers and everything in there. It creates that spreadsheet automatically for us, and literally all we have to do is send an email to OZEV with this folder in it with all the information. We click send and that's it. And so for us, EV Comply has taken us from being nearly a year behind on our grant applications and being owed like £10,000 by the government grant scheme to actually now every month, bing, on a certain date we send it off, and then within a month we get our payment. So like last month we received, I can't remember how many £1,000 it was of grant money, which is important because the customer doesn't pay that to us. So every time the customer pays their invoice, they pay the invoice minus 350 quid. And then we have to wait until OZEV pay us that 350 quid before we're fully paid for the job. So being able to process these grant applications quickly and efficiently is a massive game changer, because it means for us, we're not worried about not getting our money. We know we're going to get the money because the paperwork side of things is pretty easy for us now, and it means that we can take on as many EV installs as we want, knowing that we'll easily be able to process the grant applications and it's not really so much of a headache that it used to be. Massive thanks to EV Comply for creating such a great software. If you want to learn more about it, there's a link in the description where you can find out all about it. I've only really scratched the surface today with EV Comply. There are loads of other features that it has. Now, you don't just have to use EV Comply for domestic installs. It's fully set up for you to do workplace installs as well. And particularly it comes into its own when it comes to doing workplace site surveys, because as you can imagine, they're a lot more complicated than the domestic ones. So for workplace site surveys, it's got segments, for example, where you can input risk assessments in there, asbestos surveys, all those kind of things, and you can go through the distribution boards, show where the main distribution board is and the sub boards and all that kind of stuff. So it makes it really easy to do workplace site surveys too. There's another great feature, which is the digital handover packs. So what you can do is you can send a customer pack, a handover pack, via email through EV Comply, and that is all the documentation that the customer needs. So the electrical certificate, the building regulation certificate, DNO notification, even the grant paperwork. You can tick various boxes to choose what you want to send through to the customer, and you can have it so that when the job's completed, it automatically sends a customer pack through to the customer with all the various documentation, which is really good customer service. So that's another nice feature. They do regular updates, and I mean really regular updates. And they're aiming to support more and more installers with not just EV, but other types of installations as well going forward. So it's something that's quite interesting for the future. The other thing I love about EV Comply is that there's no contract. It's a pay-as-you-go system. There is a little setup fee that you have to pay, but it's very reasonable, and that just covers EV Comply for helping you to get up and running on the system, to learn the system and all that. And the other interesting thing is as well, there are a lot of installer networks on this now. So if you're an EV installer that you're looking for more work, you can get registered on the installer network and get leads sent to you straight in EV Comply. So for example, My Energy, we're a member of their installer network. They send us leads. We just choose which postcodes we want to be in, and they actually send leads that are in those postcode areas, and we can look at all the pictures for the job already. We can send a quote to the customer, and hopefully we win that work as well. And of course, data security is super important. EV Comply is fully GDPR compliant, and they make sure that they protect customers' data, which is important for us, for any third parties that we're giving data to. That's really important. But yeah, as I said, head to the link in the description where you'll find out more. I'll leave a link as the pinned comment as well in this video, so that you can go and check that out. And I think EV Comply are going to give some free credit to anyone who signs up using my special code as well, so that you can even try it out for your first job or two, so that you can kind of get used to it and see if it's something that will be beneficial and will work for you and your business. As always, if you enjoy the videos, share them out with somebody who could benefit from them too. Hit a thumbs up to say thank you for this informative content. Hopefully it's been informative, and subscribe as well if you haven't done so already, because we do post loads of cool stuff like this about EV charging installations, electrician life, technology, interesting products, loads of cool stuff coming up, guys. So stay tuned for more content coming soon, and thank you for watching either way. Have a great day.